since last year's event. We're ridiculously happy to be here. My name is Samurai, and this is my wife Jillian, my better half, also known as God or the boss. We're here to introduce you to 16th century samurai martial arts. If I offend you because of a really bad joke, sorry, deal with it. But other than that, I have no intention of hurting anybody's feelings or challenging you when we present samurai martial arts as they existed in Japan. You may hear some things a little bit different than what modern instructors are teaching and telling you. But what you have to understand first and foremost is that in the 16th century in Japan, the katana, the way of the sword, was different than it is today. Back then, this weapon was actually a life or death proposition. People lived and died by their skill using the sword. Today it's for games. In fact, we name motorcycles after katana. Actually, there's a cell phone. Reach out and touch someone. It meant something different in the 16th century. Now it's a lawsuit. I mean, restraining order? That was a misunderstanding. Wow. At least they laughed. A little bit. It may have just been to cover the awkward moment. Samurai training with the sword in the 16th century, Japan was a caste system. By that, what I mean is, if your dad was a samurai, you're going to be a samurai. Your child is going to be a samurai. If you were born a farmer, you're going to die a farmer, and your child. And the samurai were the ruling class in Japan. And one way that rulers keep themselves in power is they limit the population's ability to fight back. So what they did was they made it illegal for peasants to carry or own a sword. Pretty easy to stay in power when you're the only one with a weapon. And since the samurai were the nobility in Japan, yes, come on in, I am the new Iron Chef.
Hey, I'll sit down, I promise.
You like that, didn't you? You can use that, send people in. Because there's people in here expecting sushi. And look, I'm a Midwest farm kid. I love fish, but please cook it. I'm not going to get sidetracked because the Iron Chef will probably track me down and hit me with a walk. I made that up. You can always tell when I vary too far from our script because it loses composure. All right. Samurai swordsmanship. Since the samurai were the nobility in Japan, they dedicated their lives to training. This wasn't a tool that they picked up and used when they needed to and set it aside. They actually began training at age 3. 3 years old, mom and dad would give the kids sticks. Wouldn't dollar out and say, here, go play with your sister. And at age 7, those children who were still alive, it was kind of a pass-fail, were accepted into formal training. So for the samurai, the sword was not just a tool or an input, it was to be an extension of their body, so they were comfortable and competent using it. And the first thing a samurai would have to develop using a sword was good balance. Lots of lower back and upper leg strength. Show you that. Boy. Oh, quick scenario. As I stand on the other side of the lights. And just out of sword reach. The most important thing about combat is spacing. If they can't hit you, you live. Shonen no kata. Each. Ni. Sa. Shi. Ro. Ya. Ro. To. Teach. Hach. Hey. Ju. Ya. Ju. To. Juich. Juni. No. Did you notice how relaxed and smiley she is at the end of the form? It's because killing people, even in her mind, is largely comforting. And now you understand what I mentioned before, going, why did you marry her? She told me to. Hapugiri Loto, 8 basic cuts. Come on. For the samurai, I mentioned before, these arts go back 16th century. Back when the samurai were using these swords, every cut was designed to end a conflict. This isn't about scoring points and going, yeah, tag, you're it. I get a trophy, colored belt, little ribbon. Okay, designed to end the fight. I'm talking too much. Keep the sword out. I don't want you to kill. Well, no. But you can picture the hat. Okay? Every cut is designed to end the fight, not merely to score a point. So while you watch her do this, you should be able to see an imaginary opponent right in front of her, because I guarantee she sees one. Usually really tall, wearing gray and red. Hop over here. Each. Me.
Yeah. Go.
She.
Hey.
Go.
Yeah.
Go.
Go.
Seats.
Hey.
Hotch.
Yeah.
Come on. They asked us before the show if we needed a mic, and I said no, it'll only short out your system. Let's do one more. Okay? See, when the samurai trained for the battlefield, when they were first learning just to use a sword, the goal was this. We go into battle, it's us against you. We have swords, you have video cameras. Good luck with that. Okay? But battlefield combat was very chaotic, and it was easy for people to get separated. Usually that would happen for one of two reasons. If she runs off, it's because she saw something shiny. I learned the coolest term. It's ADOS. Ow! That's a microphone?
Yes, it is.
ADOS. It stands for Attention Deficit. Oh, shiny. I'm like, that's cool. You can tell somebody without ADD came up with it because it's 4 letters, and that's at least one too long to remember. But on the battlefield, we're fighting, we get separated. You can't push the pause button and then call for help. Okay, the samurai had to be able to keep fighting. And it was important, if they got separated and were surrounded by enemies, they had to be able to keep fighting. Okay? So what I want you to, come on, I want you to pretend that you are all alone and you are completely surrounded by enemies. Okay? You are all alone in a vast sea of unfriendly faces where everyone wishes you harm. You know, like high school.
High school would have been more fun.
Probably briefer. She-Ho Gary, 4-direction cutting. Each.
Hey, yeah.
Knee.
Hey, yeah.
Saw.
Hey, yeah.
She.
Hey, yeah.
Go.
Hey, yeah.
Come on. Jabber. No, high school would have been more fun for you with this sword, wouldn't it? Those 4 years of 9th grade would have just flown. Look, you know it's a joke. We're from Iowa. 9th grade is like a semester. They want us out working the farm. Hi. Do you want to do one more?
Sure.
You know, that's the same argument I give her for a month. She didn't say, come on. But do you remember what I said earlier? If you don't move, you're fine. The whole idea that she tracks by movement. She's also like one of our Akitas. They'll chase anything. They won't fetch, but they will chase you down and kill you. They just won't bring you back. Which for us is actually helpful because it makes it harder for CSI. Jim says, hi. I said you'd be safe. I didn't say you'd be happy. Okay, for the samurai, the next thing in their development, and learning to use the sword safely and correctly, was vastly underappreciated, okay? Swords are just like guns, in that if you don't take care and use them correctly, they're just as likely to hurt you. Okay, so the first thing a samurai had to do was learn how to use the sword and swing and move with it correctly so they didn't hit themselves or somebody that was on their side. Once you got that figured out, the next step to samurai training was learning what to do when someone takes a 3-foot sharpened razor blade and swings it at you. Because, what?
This is what they want to see.
No, this is the part where I swing the sword at you and they get to see.
No. These guys want me to hit you with a sword.
Yeah! century samurai arts for a living. The hardest thing to teach people is what to do when they're attacked, because you tend to freeze without training. Normal human reaction to a sharp sword being swung in your head looks something like this. And that's one step up from fetal position. Okay? Which, just so we're clear, not only was that not helpful on the battlefield, it won't help your dating life either. Okay? So fetal position, not so good. Which brings us to the next part, and this will be our shout out to the Karate Kid! Because that really cool overhead block you learned in Taekwondo and Karate class never intended to be used against a sword. She jumps out from behind the wall and goes, "Wah!" and swings at your head, and your brilliant idea is to do this.
And you are now our face.
That's funny. My armor actually, it looks like, and my daughter saw it for the first time and went, "Look, it's dark helmet." Which is why we no longer travel with Amanda. Oh, look, the Japanese sword, everybody knows this sword was designed to cut entirely through human bodies. Don't ask why it's relevant or why we know this, but the record is 7 in one swing. And I know what you're thinking. How did they get 7 teenagers to hold still though? I made that joke at it was a Ren Fair. And as luck would have it, there were a whole row of college guys in the front row. And I'm like, how they got 7? I don't know how. He's in a belly dancer. And they all looked at me, jumped down and went, "Zoom! Yes!" And everybody laughed, and I looked back at my son and went, "Did you see?" And he's going, "What, Dad? Where?" Now, the really bad part is, there was no belly dancer. There's a friend of mine who's a sword veteran. He weighs 400 pounds, and he was wearing... We're still getting therapy bills from that college. Well, look, the sword was designed to go entirely through human bodies. She swings, and I go, "Wah!" That's the sort of block I can only do once. Well, okay, twice.
Really?
2 hands!
Sweetheart, they consider that a dog.
I don't. Which side of the river are we on? Are we in
We're in
Kansas?
Missouri. These guys know who Darwin was.
We made that joke in Kansas not 3 months ago. The lady got really offended, sitting right in the front row. And she goes, "Son, do you know where you are?" And I'm like, "On stage?" And she goes, "You're in Kansas." And I went, "Oh, got it. I'll speak slower."
There's a reason we're on this side of the river.
Something about a restraining order. But look, the samurai needed to do something different than just going, "Ah!" or "Ah!" Same result. So after the first few Darwin Award winners were weeded out of the gene pool, what they learned was this amazing concept. And I know there's probably ninja monkeys sneaking in right now just because I'm going to tell you this mystic secret of the Orientals. If someone takes a 3-foot sharpened razor blade and swings it violently at your head, move! Well, I didn't say it was rocket science. But remember, this is what I teach for a living. You know what the hardest thing to teach students is? Move. So, this is the amazing thing. Sword comes in, as long as you move your body clear out of the way. So you don't have to play the same spell. Okay? They understand.
Get back here!
No.
You signed up for this.
No, I didn't. Look, I remember the marriage vows. Love. Good. Honor. Which, honestly, and she made me memorize the obey part all the time. But abuse wasn't in there.
All right, fine. Will you come back if you get to play with your sword?
Yeah. You mean gotcha? On stage? Okay. So after the samurai learned, hey, moving out of the way against the sword, good idea.